cross the bridge and push as far as possible. First Lieutenant Windsor Miller, a tanker and engineer present at Remagen, began to furiously work to fill in Captain Friesenhand's crater. Everyone seemed shocked that the Ludendorff Bridge remained standing after taking such a beating. It was littered with holes, much of the wooden planks placed by the Germans destroyed. Its foundations had been thoroughly rocked, and most Americans waited with bated breath for the bridge to collapse into the Rhine. But the bridge remained by nightfall, and hundreds of engineers poured onto it with the tools necessary to make proper repairs, even if everything was crude. Miller was called into a meeting with all the officers about their future actions. It was decided that they would attempt to cross the Ludendorff Bridge with their tanks, which were mainly M4 Shermans with 4 new Pershing heavy tanks. None of these men knew whether the badly wounded bridge would have the strength to hold them, but the infantry needed armor support on the other side, and we had to make an effort to get our tanks over there. The Sherman tanks made their way to the bridge and, in a single row, crept their way across it. They were lined up end to end, to which Miller shouted to the tank in front of him, "Don't get too far away." The man in front of him turned back to stare at him. "Sir, I can't very well get too far away with you bumping into me all the time." Eventually, Miller's 9 Sherman tanks crossed the bridge by some miracle. They were the first American tanks across the Rhine. Behind them was an M10 tank destroyer, and they heard a loud crash. It had fallen partially through the bridge. William Hoge described the scene as such. It just stuck there and blocked the bridge, so we had a hell of a fix there, and you couldn't move the damn thing. It couldn't move under its own power, and I told them that cut it loose and let it drop into the river. It didn't make any difference. I had to get rid of it because it was blocking the traffic of the reinforcements and everything. Well, they couldn't do that, so they finally sent a tank back from the far side, and the east side of the Rhine, and hooked a cable to the front end of the tank destroyer and pulled it out, and that opened up the bridge. Then the traffic began to flow. We took the infantry across. The tank destroyer was successfully moved at around 5:30 a.m. on March 8th. With the M10 crashing through the bridge, it was quickly decided to keep the Pershings on the western side of the Rhine, where they would serve as artillery. But this also revealed a more pressing issue. The Ludendorff Bridge was in shambles and needed to be fixed before any heavy equipment could adequately make its way across. Thus, pontoon bridges were necessary, and engineers rushed to Remagen to begin construction, as others ran onto the Ludendorff Bridge to begin repairs. As early as 4 o'clock a.m. on March 8th, American engineers began makeshift repairs on the bridge. Cranes, trucks, and other vehicles moved back and forth on the bridge, carrying the necessary supplies to keep the bridge up and make it usable.
History lives on when we share it. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your support helps keep these stories alive.